Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to discuss the recent project I took on. Towards the end of July, my wife and I decided we wanted to buy an investment property. The project that I'm about to discuss in this video, I actually postponed and procrastinated for the past 4 years. Since roughly 2016, I've been contemplating on buying a property, and my only reason for not doing it, was one, I was very busy with my previous business, and two, I kept thinking that the market is going to correct itself. Over past decade, real estate in Orlando, Florida has grown substantially. Right after COVID, my wife and I decided we're going to buy a property. I mean, COVID, not the best time to buy, but interest rates have been so low that we just decided to pull a trigger. We bought a property here in Orlando. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, mid-century 50s house. It was somebody's flip. Somebody actually bought that house for $230,000. They put roughly about 6 months of work into it, and then they flipped it and sold it to us for $360,000. Now, how did I buy that house? I actually did not buy cash. I bought it with 10% down, and the rest was purchased with leverage, which is, our interest rate is 3.125%, and it's a 30-year fixed loan. I'm actually planning on paying it off within the next 10 years or so. Ideally, I want to pay it off in the next 5 years. And the way I'm going to do it is by putting the property on Airbnb. Whatever money I make from Airbnb, I'm going to pour back into the property. So basically pay off the loan as soon as possible. I don't really need that property as a income generator. All the money that I'm making from the property will go towards the loan, because that's my retirement. This is how I'm planning on retiring. One of my plans is to buy as many properties as I can, and it's not necessarily just in Orlando. I'm hoping one day be able to buy properties around the United States, so that when I retire, I have few properties generating me cash flow, and I can just live off of that. So in this video, I'm going to discuss the process. I want to discuss how we purchased the property, how long it took to close on the house, how long it took to furnish it and put it up on Airbnb, and overall, what was the process. Like I said earlier, the idea of buying a property have been in my mind for about 4 years now, and I just kept procrastinating. But over COVID, we had so much time on our hands during the lockdown that my wife jumped on Zillow and started looking at properties, and eventually we met the realtor, and she showed us about 12 properties, and out of 12 properties, we picked this one, the one that I'm about to show you. And the reason why we picked this one, we actually did not want to go with a brand new build, and we didn't want to get something that was a fixer-upper, even though that is a plan for the future. We wanted something that was already fully renovated, and it was ready to go. All we had to do is just tweak a few things, maybe paint a few walls, furnish it, and put it on Airbnb. Anyway, so after about a month of negotiating, we got a property locked in. For those of you who bought a house before, you know the negotiating part is probably the most tedious and annoying part, because they ask for so much paperwork, especially now during COVID, now that we're in crisis. I feel like they asked even more paperwork than they usually do. Plus, both my wife and I are self-employed. We definitely have to show a lot more. They want to make sure that we are making what we claim. Anyways, for about 28, it took about 28 days, like I said, and after 28 days, we bought the property. We closed on it. Once I had my keys, I rolled in, I started painting the walls, I started making the accent walls. You know, we purchased a whole bunch of furniture. I spent about a month assembling the furniture. Man, it is so tedious and so much work to receive furniture unassembled in a box and then just manually assemble every single piece. Definitely took me a long time. For instance, the couch took about a month to arrive, roughly about close to 4 weeks. So after about a month, then I placed the property on Airbnb. And in the first week or so, we literally didn't have any inquiries. So I was actually getting nervous. I was like, you know, I have a nice property. I took pictures. My price seems to be very reasonable. I'm actually giving a lot of discounts to first-time renters. But yeah, it took about a week, and we got our first booking. This lady came from up north. She booked for 4 days. She stood there with her kids, and luckily she left us the review. Right after them, we had a guy from Texas they booked our Airbnb for 3 weeks. They're actually traveling nurses. It's 3 of them, and they're currently still staying at the property. Right after them, I have another lady with her family. They're staying there for the weekend. And then as of right now, the schedule is pretty empty. I'm hoping to fulfill it in as we go. One of the things that I've noticed, being that we are still in a global pandemic, people don't book ahead of time in fear of another lockdown, or they're not really sure what's going to happen tomorrow. So everybody books sort of right before their vacation, last minute. Plus, I'm very flexible with my cancellation policy. I'm allowing people to cancel 24 hours before their arrival, just in case if their plans are changing, and I understand that we are in global pandemic. So before moving on and sharing before I move on and share the stats and how much we earned for the month, and also I wanted to show you how much what the property looked like before we purchased. We went ahead and bought brand new furniture, but obviously if I was to do it again, I'll probably look for furniture on Facebook Marketplace just to see if I can save some money. I think I already mentioned that, but if I didn't, take great pictures. So either hire somebody to take pictures for you, and do it yourself if you know how to do it. But pictures are what sells your property. If you don't have good pictures, you will have a hard time having people book your property. With that said, I want to move on and show you the stats from Airbnb, and then I wanted to show you the pictures of what the property looked like before after we purchased it, and before I did some minor tweaking. I did 2 accent walls, and then obviously we furnished it. They built this wooden pergola right in front of the entrance, or pergola. I don't know I think pergola, that's how you pronounce that. So as soon as you walk in, you're greeted with open space, open concept, the living room, kitchen, everything is open. Even though the property is only 1,500 square foot, it feels a lot bigger. The floor, they kept the original floor from 1950s. That's what I was told. It's actually a terrazzo floor, and we really like that. It looked different. I also did some research, and I found out to have that floor installed nowadays, it could cost you anywhere from $65 to $100 per square foot. Another selling point for us was entry to the backyard. You're greeted with these big doors with big windows, and you can see this backyard. And the backyard stood out to us, and it wasn't your typical Florida backyard. It had a lot of old trees. And I know some of you will say that being there's a lot of old trees that could potentially be a hazard for us, because it's a Florida, and in the state of Florida we have a lot of hurricanes. With that said, we still wanted that greenery in the backyard. It feels so relaxing and tranquil and zen. And then we ended up installing a hammock on. I actually mounted it to 2 trees that we have in the backyard. Moving on, we have, like I said, all these pictures. Kitchen, you can see the kitchen, you can see the dining room, living room, bathroom. Overall, the house is very nice. I'm really happy with our purchase. Now, this is what it actually looks like after I finished furnishing it, and listed it on Airbnb. As you can see, we purchased this green couch, and we put some plants in it, and the whole vibe was the mid-century, modern. We were going for that look because the house is from late 50s. I also installed 2 accent walls, one in the living room and one in the master bedroom, just to give the house a more modern look and have it look more custom versus just your cookie cutter. Even though it is a 1950s house, it was renovated, and they didn't really put too much thought. They just cleaned it up. So yeah, I just wanted more of a custom look. As I was telling you earlier, we have 5 beds in the house, 1 king size bed, and then 4 full size beds, just so we can host anywhere from 6 to 10 people, depending on how comfortable they are to stay. Sleep in full size beds. I'm advertising the house for up to 8 people because I didn't want to push it to 10. I don't want anybody to be upset. And then finally, I just wanted to show you the stats for September. As you can see, in the month of September, the property earned $3,387, and we had 1,682 views. We had 4 bookings in last 30 days, and then I've been responding to everybody, so I have 100% response rate. And then performance. So the performance part, you can see the earnings. So overall, we actually made $4,648. So some of it was already paid out to us, and some of it is still pending because you don't get paid out until the first night. So after the person checks into the property, you get paid out the next day. As I was saying, the views were at 1,682, and then the conversion rate was 0.2%. And actually, that's pretty poor because you would assume that a lot more people would book, but I'm assuming that this is because currently we're still in COVID-19, and even though Florida has been one of the more relaxed states, I know that people are not traveling as much as they used to. Also, as I was saying earlier, that people don't feel comfortable booking ahead of time. They want to book right before their trip just to make sure they can still trip and they can still travel without any complications or any lockdowns. So yeah, I'm assuming this is why I have such a low conversion rate. And then another thing would be probably the price. I'm still trying to figure out what is the optimal price for my property. The opportunities tab, not really sure. I guess these are just tips that Airbnb provides you to see how you can improve your booking and conversion rate. As you can see here, Airbnb states that 54% of travelers in my area have come from 300 miles away. And then 11% of trips are booked less than a week before check-in. So as I was saying, people are not feeling comfortable to book far out. They want to book right before their trips. And then the average is about 4 nights. That's what I've been seeing. Even though one of the bookings we had was 3 weeks, and I actually have somebody in my direct messages in my inbox, and they want to book for 3 months. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, this is how my property performed this September.